Now today we have to continue from here, from this slide. Okay. So we were discussing about conditions in this PowerPoint presentation. This PowerPoint presentation is about conditions and loops, two topics. Okay. First I have to discuss conditions. So we were discussing on conditions. Okay. So there are some other theories remain under conditions. So today I'm going to continue those theories and also try to go to the loop session also. Okay. So now look at this example. Okay. In degrees Celsius. Okay. So now before going to this example, I would like to extend this example. Which example? So here conditions. Okay. So I think you can see this example. Okay. So here now they are entering a number. Okay. They are checking whether this number is even or odd. Okay. Before going to that, okay, if clock cover. Okay. Now let's delete all these things. Okay. So here I would like to modify this code segment like this. Okay. So I would like to move to the first example, that are clock cover example. Okay. So if clock cover, okay, clock cover is less than 12, then we should output what is it? Did you have your breakfast? Or let's say like this: good morning. This is, you know, to greeting. Good morning. Okay. So that's before 12 o'clock. So then so I am going to greet according to the time period of the day. Okay. So from here, this if clause end. Okay. So I have to create several other if structures, because there are several other greetings and there are several other sessions. No? So this is for greater than 12. Okay, clock cover is greater than 12 and clock cover is less than let's say less than 3. Okay, less than 3. We greet as we normally greet using the word afternoon. Good afternoon. So normally, what is noon? Noon is 12 o'clock. Okay. So afternoon means after 12 o'clock. Normally before 3 o'clock. We use afternoon word. And also is clock hour is after 3 o'clock. And before 6 o'clock. Okay. Normally we use good evening. Okay. Good evening. So after 6 o'clock, normally we use, it means after 6 o'clock. We don't need this one. After 6 o'clock. Okay. If we use 24 hour, okay, 24 hour clock. Okay. So then this would be 15. Okay. 15th hour. 3 p.m. means 15th hour. 6 p.m. means 18th hour. Okay. In 24 hour clock. Okay. So after 6 p.m. it means 18th hour. After 18th hour we use good night. Okay. Good night. So this is it. There are several if structures. Okay. Now you can see this. So let's run this code. Now it's 8 past 10 now. It should display good morning. Okay. Now you can see here. Okay. Now let's change the time. Let's set it manually. Something after 12. Let's change it 24 hour. How it? This PM. PM 3. PM 3. PM 2. Okay. PM 2. PM 2 means 2 PM means 14th hour. Okay. So it means 14th hour. 14th hour means greater than 12 and less than 15. So let's try this one. So the output should be good afternoon. You can see the good afternoon. Okay. Now let's change the time again. After 3 p.m. it means let's change this to 4 or 5 p.m. Okay. So 5 p.m. means 17th hour. So it is in between 15 and 18, greater than 15, less than 18. So the greeting should be good evening. Let's run the code. Okay, now you can see good evening. Okay. So after 6 p.m. it means after 18th hour. Let's set the time to something around 8 p.m. Now you can see here 8. So the greeting should be good night. Okay. Good night. You can see here. Okay. Good night. So if we want to create a code something like this, greetings according to the time, so we can create that one using 4 if structures. Okay, 4 if structures. So there is another method. Okay, another programming technique to do such a thing. Instead of using repetitive if structures. Okay, other than using the if structure 4 times, there is another way, another technique to do the same thing differently. Okay, it is something like this. Okay, so here you can see that not here, this one. So here you can see that there is a different kind of structure: if, else if, else if, else, like that. Okay, so there is another keyword called else if. So I'm going to combine all these four structures using else if keyword. So there will be one structure. Okay, so there are several conditions, no? Less than 12, in between 12 and 15, in between 15 and 18, more than 18. Okay, there are four conditions. So instead of ending the first statement here, I can delete that one. Okay, and instead of if, here I will use else if, this one. So if this condition satisfies, if this condition is true, this greeting will be displayed. Else, it means that if it fails, then it goes to here and checks that whether it falls into in between 12 and 15, likewise. Okay, so here also I would like to delete this one, end if, and instead of if, I would like to put else if here. Okay, so this one, sorry. Else if whatever. Okay, else if. So here I would like to delete this one also, and instead of this if, I would like to use else if. Okay, so now look at this code segment. Okay, so if this condition satisfies, this will be displayed. Okay, it means good morning will be displayed. If it fails, then this condition will be checked. If this condition satisfies, this greeting will be displayed. If both these conditions fails, then it moves to here and checks whether the clock hour is in between 15 and 18. Okay, if it is true, then this greeting will be displayed. If all the above three conditions are failing, then it comes to the fourth condition and checks whether this condition satisfies. If the condition is satisfied, then this greeting will be displayed. Okay. So rather than using 4 if structures, we can combine all these 4 structures into one if structure. Okay, here only one if structure, if and end if. So we have used else if keyword to combine those if structures. Okay, and create a one structure. Okay. So let's run this code. So now it's time 8 p.m. No, it's good night. So let's change this time to something like 5 p.m. Okay. Now it should be good evening. Now you can see here good evening. Something like 2 p.m. Then it should be a good afternoon. You can see here. And something like now 8 p.m. 8 a.m. 8 a.m. So the greeting must be good morning. You can see here. Okay. So this is how we use else if keyword. Oh, okay, and combining several if structures into a one. Okay. Okay. So here, as we are using else if keyword, we can modify this condition also. Okay. So as we have checked the hour whether it is less than or 12. So obviously in the next step they will not get hours less than 12. So they will get hours more than 12. Okay. So instead of this whole condition, this part is enough. It means clock hour is less than 15 because first of all the program will check the current hour. Okay. If it is less than 12, it will display good morning. Okay. So if it is not, it means less than it is more than 12, then it comes to here, then it is check, it will check yes, clock hour is more than 12, but whether it is less than 15, then then it will display this greeting. Likewise, after failing these two conditions, if the programs come to here means the hour is something greater than 50. Okay, so we don't need to write this thing explicitly, so we can delete this one and say okay, the hour is not less than 12, hour is not less than 15, it means it should be greater than 15. Now check whether that hour is less than 18. If it is so, then display good evening. Okay. After that, if the hour is not less than 12, not less than 15, not less than 18, then check whether it is greater than 18. If so, then display good night. This after these changes, program behaves as the earlier. Okay, so let's check it again. Now the time is 8 a.m. so it should be good morning. Now let's change this to something like 2 p.m. Now it should be good afternoon. Now you can see good afternoon. Okay. So let's change the time to 5 p.m. Now it should be good evening. Okay. You can see here good evening. Okay. So let's change the time to 8 p.m. Now the result should be good night. Okay. Let's see. Now you can see. Okay. So this is how we use else if. Okay. So when we use else if, conditions will get simpler. Okay. Rather than using several if structures, if you use else if keyword and combine those if structures, those intermediate conditions will be shortened. Okay. You can see that one. Okay. Here. Okay. This is called if else if structure. If else if structure. Okay. And here in this example, you can see that if else if. Okay. Here you can see if. Okay. Else if. Else if. And the final word is not else if. It is just else. Okay. So that is because we can modify this code again, because now at the first the clock cover program will check whether the clock cover is less than 12. If it fails means it is more than 12. So it is more than 12 means it may be 2 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m. likewise. Okay. So after failing this condition, secondly, program checks whether the clock cover, okay, clock cover is more than 12, but is it less than 15? Okay. If so, then this greeting will be displayed. After failing these two conditions means up at this point, the program know the hour is something greater than 50. And here program checks whether the hour is less than 80. Okay. If so, this greeting will be displayed. If it fails, it means up to this point, program know it is not less than 12, it is not less than 15, it is not less than 18. So the clock cover must be greater than 18. Okay, greater than 80. So instead of writing a separate condition here, okay, the clock cover is greater than 18, program automatically knows, because this condition fails. It means not less than 12. This condition has failed. It means it is not less than 15. This condition has failed. It means it has not. It means the clock cover is not less than 18. So at this point, program knows the clock cover is something more than 18. So we don't need to write it. We don't need to mention it, because program automatically knows that. Okay. If the above three conditions fail, at this point program know clock cover must be greater than 18. So we don't need to mention it here. So here I am deleting the condition. So here there are no condition. So it means we can't use else if keyword, instead of else if, we should use else keyword. Okay, so when we are using else keyword, we don't need this then keyword also. You can see here, when we use else keyword, we don't need then keyword, because then keyword is used after a condition. Okay, so here under else keyword, we don't put a condition, so we don't need then. In previous cases, we use then keyword because it is used after a condition. Okay, so here there isn't a condition, we don't write a condition with the else keyword, so there we don't need to put then keyword then here. Okay, so so this is the most simplest way to write a if else if condition. If there are several conditions to be satisfied or to be checked in different segments, we can use at first if keyword, then in middle part else if keywords to write conditions and check. Okay, at the last step, instead of writing else if keyword again and a condition, we can use else keyword without a condition, because after failing all the above three condition, it here automatically it means the clock hour must be greater than 18, so we don't need to mention it here. Okay, instead of that we can use else key. Okay, so this will run correctly again. Okay, let's check that one. So now the time is 8 p.m. now, so it must be good night. Okay, so if the time is something around 5 p.m., the greeting should be good evening. Okay, here you can see. If the time is around 2 p.m., the greeting must be good afternoon. You can see here. If the time is before 12 o'clock, it means around 8 a.m. So the greeting must be good morning. Okay. So after doing several changes to the initial code segment, okay, now we have come to this point. So this is the most simplest way to write a if else if structure. So we can't simplify this structure again. Okay, this is the final simplest level. Okay, so with that theory, if else if structure, conditions will over. Okay, so here we discussed here. So let's go to this slide. So we did this yesterday, so today we have to continue from here. So when you write a program, you can specify as many conditions. If you have many conditions, as you want if you have to deal with many conditions, then use the else if keyword. Okay, so you can also specify one more operations for the computer to perform, depending on which condition is true when your program is run. Okay, so let's look at this with an example. So okay, I have used a different example in this video. So in this slide, they have different example. Doesn't matter. They are trying to explain if else if structure. Okay,